The brand Kat Von D, or KVD, however you know it, has certainly had a few ups and downs, a few controversies. I personally have a lot of feelings towards this brand now. Not personally as in I had an issue with them, but personally as in, you know, my opinion. And from filming this video and actually watching some things recently, the brand does seem to be going through this trying to claw its way out of, you know, a makeup hole. Where everyone's forgotten about them, trying to keep the brand alive. They seem to be on the last straw. So let's take a bit of a deep dive into this brand, Kat Von D, KVD, the name behind it, the name not behind it, the former owner. Yes, let's get into it. A question though for you before we get into today's video. Do you think brands, doesn't have to be beauty, create controversies around their own brand for attention? Is it good for sales? And if you want to see more videos like this, do consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up and comment. And if you don't know what to comment, just say algorithm. Okay, so to understand like this brand's journey, we have to meet the person behind the brand who started it all, Kat Von D. Now, of course, Kat Von D is kind of like a stage name, but her real name is Catherine Von Drachenberg. Catherine Von Drachenberg. So a lot of you probably already know her, but she came to fame from like the LA Inc. Miami Inc. TV series that was on TLC. Love TLC TV, it's so shit. So she basically came into Miami Inc. as like a guest tattooist. I think somebody was like sick or whatever, so they brought her in. But people liked her so much, they made like a sub Inc. And from there created LA Inc. as kind of her as the main focus. I think she was the manager or something. And it's completely launched her into a spotlight in 2007, especially with like all the emo things that we were all going through, you know, everyone like dark, you know, rock and roll, tattoos, you know, it was that kind of time period. And I think she did like various things. I think she's a musician right now. I actually don't know. Yeah, no, she is. She was basically famous for being a tattoo artist. So along come Sephora and offer her own kind of like collection within Sephora. So Kat has had some controversies within the beauty community itself and controversies with the brand, and you'll see. And a surprising twist has happened recently, very recent actually, this year, which was her recent conversion to Christianity. Now, we'll touch on that later. This isn't going to be anti-religion or anti-Christian, anything like that, by the way. I fully support anyone doing whatever religious things they need to do in your own life. I don't like it when it affects my life, but. So let's get into makeup, right? Sephora approached Kat Von D and was like, let's do like a mini limited edition collection. And they did, despite Kat saying before that she finds Sephora fucking boring. Sephora's like, we still want to work with you. So the little collection launched. It was very true to Kat Von D's style, tattoo. It was what we know about like the brand is now. Like that tattoo design, black and white, very semi-gothic.
I'm here with Kat Von D, who has created an amazing makeup line for Sephora.
I've always been a fan of makeup. You know, I've been wearing it for so long. And I really wanted it to be just really striking, but versatile. So, you know, like if you want to, you know, wear it casual, you can. And if not, you can punch it up.
Yeah. And clearly you have such an amazing attention to detail. I mean, just your tattoos are exquisite. Oh, how do you think, does that relate to the beauty line?
Definitely. I mean, I try to play as much of a role like in the process as much as possible. So like all the artwork on it and everything, like I did it myself and you know, played around with different color schemes and things like that.
So when you were actually designing the packaging, what kind of process did you go through to kind of get with the end result?
Well, I mean, for me it was important to just get something that's like strong but still feminine, because I think with tattoos especially, you know, like you can be a heavily tattooed woman, but like it's all about how you carry yourself and you can still be feminine. So I wanted it to have that edge to it.
Kendo, who do like Fenty and stuff like that, then launched a permanent collection with Kat, which was also in Sephora. Do Kendo own Sephora, or Kendo and Sephora's parent company is owned in the same thing? Whatever. It did really, really incredibly well and actually like birthed some iconic products. If you were on YouTube around the launch of this brand, you would have seen or heard about most of the liquid lipsticks, the light and dark, what's it called? Dark and Light contour palette, the one that everyone tried to rip off, that one. There were actually some staple products within this collection. Now, I've actually never used those products from this brand ever. I don't believe you could get it as easy in the UK when at the time it launched, if at all. But it was one of those brands, especially here in England, when people would be like, oh, I'm going to the US, I need to pick up like Kat Von D lipsticks, I really want to try them. And it was kind of like, at the time, its own, like we'd never seen a brand like it. It was like makeup had always been quite pretty and quite, you know, apart from in the editorial world going through the 90s where everything was super grunge, in terms of what's on sale, apart from Lime Crime, like Kat Von D was like the wild child of makeup, like ooh, and gothic, you know, and you could get like different lipstick colors like blues and blacks that perhaps brands weren't selling so much at the time. They do now, but back then it wasn't like guaranteed that people would buy these colors, so they didn't pop them on the shelves. Shade and Light, that's the name of the palette, sorry. Touching on the controversies of the brand, Kat Von D, the brand and the owner of the brand itself being Kat Von D. This is the issue when you name a brand after yourself, right? Your controversies go hand in hand with the companies. You're directly connected to that brand. The brand is you. Throughout these controversies, you'll see, but Kat herself had a really terrible way of dealing with the controversies, with the drama, but also with any kind of feedback from her audience, from her consumers, from other companies. She was like, you know? She became very well known for like speaking her mind and kind of ruining her brand. She seems like one of those people that's like, you know, I'll say what I want, and sometimes people just don't like it, which isn't like a big person thing to say. It just shows that you lack very basic social skills. When you say that statement, it's not big and it's not clever. So a lot of the dramas and controversies seem, from this time period anyway, seem to focus around the lipsticks and the names of her lipsticks, okay? Some of these, I just don't fucking understand why people do this. And her stubbornness, you'll see. And also the lack of awareness as to why people would be upset by these names. Actually, no, let me very quickly, tell you about this, just to go into it. So they had a concealer, I think it was called like, what did I write it down? The Lock-It concealer, something lock, or something, it will stand for ages concealer, whatever. So they took this concealer and for a post on Instagram or something, they held it in front of a cotton field, right? Hold it there and said, let it do all the hard work for you. Obviously, people were very upset about this. Why are you holding a product up to a cotton field, a field of cotton, and then talking about hard work? That's just a sneak peek. This is just a sneak peek into what's coming up, right? Let's take a look at the lipstick names. First, let's start with this one. Underage Red. Like, underage, like what? Why? Why would you call it that? I need to add here as well. I think when we think of like celebrity brands, right? We kind of have this thing in our head that this celebrity is sitting there coming up with all these ideas themselves. I did this, I created this. This is my name for this brand, my name for this product. When actually there is a whole team that kind of has to like approve the names, approve budgets, print the stickers, print with the names on. So remember, when this happens, these names have to pass through a team of people. The celebrity didn't just go, yeah, I want to call it that, and then whack it out themselves. A team of people have to give it, you know, they probably have to even just at least Google the product to make sure nobody has the copyright for the name or something like that. A red lipstick called Underage, does anyone else do this? No, because not everyone else is fucking stupid. You know, they'll have to Google it and check, or, you know, run it through some kind of thing, lawsuits. People do different things with this name before it goes onto the market. There was backlash, of course, and rightly so. However, Kat Von D did not apologize because she didn't want to like sacrifice her creative freedoms. One, I don't get why you would want to call it that in the first place. I can't understand. Someone help me understand. Another shade was Selection, the word selection spelt with a K. And this is a German word that can be traced back to when Nazis used to decide in concentration camps, they'll line up and they'll point either way. Either you're going to be killed or you're going to go to work and do labor and be a slave. There was also a shade called Celebutard, which is a mix of the word celebrity and also an ableist slur. That word, the R word, at that point of time was used everywhere. You watch old episodes of things from like the early 2000s and everyone's just using it everywhere. Like it's insane when you watch it back. And Sephora Sephora actually ended up taking this shade off shelves because they didn't want to sell it because of her name, obviously. But of course, Kat was like, oh, guys, at the end of the day, it's just a lipstick. Okay, so if it's just lipstick, just change the name. I mean, it's that simple and that's easy. It's an offensive word for a group of people. Whether or not you're offended by that word, a good business practice would be to not use the fucking word. But also, in general, don't use the fucking word. And Lolita as well, which is a book, a film, a movie where the author, is it the author? I actually can't remember if it's the author of the book or if there's a writer in it who falls in love with an underage girl. So you can see there's a lot of like connections when it comes to Kat Von D and calling lipsticks like really controversial names to get a reaction. This is why I asked earlier, do you think people, brands make these controversies just to kind of get a sale? Some of you may also be familiar with the more beauty community, YouTube community drama that involved Kat Von D and Jeffree Star, because of course, why wouldn't there be a drama involving these two? So Kat posted on Instagram about Jeffree Star after all this stuff came out about him, you know, being racist and just the person he is, saying she won't support his brand anymore, how, you know, he was really ungrateful. She introduced him to the lab that makes his products and all this other stuff. There were issues about him not paying somebody for a logo and how she actually felt responsible for some of the dramas that had go on because she made those introductions between people, and saying that basically Jeffree Star had changed as a person from when they knew each other back in the day, which doesn't surprise me that they knew each other back in the day with, you know, all the lipstick names. There was other stuff that was also kind of boring. But this was another thing that kind of made the brand go downhill, because whether we like it or not, back at that time, Jeffree Star was a big deal on YouTube and the brand was a big deal. So this forced people, well, didn't really, because, you know, people don't really have to choose sides, that's a them problem, but a lot of people felt they had to choose sides, and people did. And two very similar alternative brands, they had to choose, do we want to buy from Kat Von D, do we want to support Jeffree Star, whatever the issue was there. So each of them did lose a bit of a support system in terms of customers of their brand. There was also a whole anti-vax thing where Kat said she wasn't going to vaccinate her baby, and then they said they weren't anti-vax, and people then, when she said that, were like also not going to support her. People had many different reasons for not supporting this brand under her name. Eventually, Kat sold the whole company to Kendo, all her shares and everything like that, and was like, oh, actually, there's a statement. It seemed like she was just over it, but here's a statement. The past year has been one of great change for me. As many of you know, I gave birth to my beautiful baby boy, launched my vegan shoe line, oh, she does that, and I'm now busy prepping to release my long-awaited album in the spring, followed by an international tour. As much as I wish I could balance all of this on top of continuing my makeup line, it has become clear to me that I just can't do everything at the maximum capacity. This is not an easy decision, but after careful consideration, I decided I wanted the makeup line to continue to thrive and grow, and I believe Kendo is primed to do just that. I'd like to thank my beloved fans and followers who supported my vision to create a brand that stood for compassion, true artistry, and challenged modern ideals of beauty, most of which I could never relate to. I don't think the brand did that really. It's a makeup brand at the end of the day, and you had a contour palette. So there's a blue lipstick, so what? Also as well, I did read somewhere, and I don't know how true it is, that a lot of the reason, not the whole reason, but some of the reason why Kat Von D didn't want to be involved in this brand anymore is because when influencer marketing became a big deal and a very popular thing to do, she hated influencers, and probably still does, and didn't want anything to do with them. But she was like, I'm not involved anymore, I don't want to do it. So Kendo went on with this brand and changed it very slightly. They removed Kat Von D completely from the branding. So they changed the name from KVD to KVD Vegan Beauty. Which doesn't stand for Kat Von D, by the way. It stands for, I have to read this, Cara, Veritas, and Decora. I'll put what that means on the screen. And Kat has actually said since, and I think this is fair, she wishes they stop using her initials, and I think they should, just for a business thing. So once Kendo took over and once, you know, they started going to a little bit more into influencer marketing, this is where they actually had a bit of a bigger break with the good Apple foundation. This was the full coverage foundation in the clear compact that every influencer tried and gasped like they had never experienced the coverage of a full coverage foundation in their life. They would get the brush, right, which was a dense full coverage brush because they sent a brush out which will give any product full coverage, and they'll put it in their face like this and then they'll go like they've never seen full coverage before. A makeup beauty influencer has never seen full coverage before. That's all we do, full coverage. Come on. So despite the love for it by content creators and people who felt they had to buy it and pretend to be shocked by it to also go a little bit viral, it actually receives pretty bad reviews online. It's not the best loved foundation. And I actually kept some aside because it looked good on camera, but in real life, it's not that great. And I probably couldn't wear it for more than an hour being oily, but it really wasn't that good. The concealer was nice. The concealer they released was really good. They did another foundation, which I really didn't like. It's really dry and crusty. And actually, whenever I do like a video about, you know, what have you purchased that you really, really regret buying, this foundation comes up often. The good Apple foundation comes up all the time. Everyone's like, I believe the hype, I believe the hype. So that was just a really annoying period of time with TikTok where people were just copying each other and gasping for no reason. But, you know, we're over it now. But even with this rebrand, people still didn't want to use this brand. It was still KVD. It was still very much Kat Von D. The brand hadn't had a physical change or really even much of a name change, let's be honest, since Kat had left. And they have done quite well so far with influencer marketing and things like that. However, so there was a new campaign recently with Mikayla, Nogueira and some other creators. I think they were competition winners. I actually don't know. So this is what I mean by like a final clutch at trying to be relevant, I guess we can say.
Sometimes you follow the rules, and sometimes you just say, fuck it.
I do support, you know, influencers trying to make money, of course. You can see people are pretty outraged throughout the comments on this video saying maybe choose some alternative. I'm currently editing this video, and when I was filming this, I actually took a look at the comments over on Instagram and on TikTok. The ones on Instagram are brutal, by the way. And when I went to kind of screenshot some today to add into this, it seems that KVD have quite heavily, deleted comments, even turned comments off on one video in particular of Mikayla doing her makeup. People are, maybe it just got a little bit horrible. You know what people are like online, but it kind of just goes to show how different audiences on different platforms are really reacting to these collections. Here's the thing in general, people aren't that nice about TikTok creators online. Have you seen comments when a TikToker releases a collection on Trend Mood or the brand? You go to Instagram and look at all the comments, it is a lot. I wouldn't read through them if I was to, you know, a TikToker and was about to release a brand. It would just kill me. But no one seems very impressed by this collaboration, and everyone actually says it's a little bit desperate. Not to Mikayla or the creators in this thing, but to Kat Von D, KVD, sorry. They're like, okay, we know you were going downhill, but this is it. I have to be honest, it's a very outdated kind of concept in terms of the advert. What's it called? Promotion. It's like, we're in school and we're tired. And then somebody walks in and, you know, does something. And it's like, break the rules. It's like, everyone's done this. Like, they could have come up with something a lot better, you know? And I think it's meant to be like shock value. Like, oh, like break the rules. It's like, oh wow, the rules of what, though? Advertising guidelines? I'm joking. But like, what rules are you breaking? You can't do like, you know, bright loads of makeup and be like, break the rules, because that's how people do their makeup nowadays. You know what I mean? Breaking the rules nowadays will be walking outside without SPF on, you know? People like break the rules, but then also like makeup has no rules. So it's like, what rules are you breaking? So, and this was the kind of like caption underneath. KVD makes makeup for when you want to follow the rules. Cute. And for when you want to say fuck it. Cute. Sometimes we say fuck it all the time, right? But we aren't exactly going through a period of time right now where people are held back in terms of what makeup they do. Somebody could walk down the road with their whole face painted green and nobody would bat an eyelid. You know what I mean? It's a very outdated concept, and I just feel like they could have done something a lot better. And whether you like her or not, Mikayla is a huge influence on people over on TikTok. They could have done something a lot better with her in terms of, I'm thinking from a marketing and advertising point of view. Not that I've ever done it. Breaking the rules and going into a school is kind of like, rob a bank or something. You know what? Break the rules. Rob a fucking bank. Break the rules. What else is breaking the rules? Well, maybe don't steal from people. You know what? There's more things to do than break the rules rather than drawing on a chalkboard. Anyway. It's just, I'm trying to say it's very old fashioned. We've seen a lot, been done a lot of times, is, you know, someone coming into a classroom and then like causing chaos. It's kind of like, oh. Let's touch on Kat Von D herself converting to Christianity. And there's some controversy here, would you believe it? And again, before we get into this drama isn't about her choosing to be religious or choosing to be more in touch with her faith or do whatever. That's absolutely fine. Do what you need to do. If you want to, like, you know, renounce your whole former life as a goth, which I don't think is very anti-religious, but whatever. That's absolutely cool. Do what you need to do. The drama actually comes from the Christians, really, not necessarily believing her. So she recently got baptized very publicly, very open. Which shocked a lot of people because Kat Von D is known for her gothic aesthetic. She had a swimming pool that was dyed red, so it looked like blood. She had like skulls everywhere. She actually had a really nice house that was decorated to a standard that I quite like as well. Her house and her lifestyle was completely different to anything when you think Christian, right? She had like witchcraft books, tarot decks, things like that. And she claimed kind of like there was a spiritual battle going on inside her, which kind of like boosted her to get rid of all this stuff and change her life. She's even having a lot of her tattoos covered up just by blacking out the design with pure black ink. And if you go through some of the comments about, you know, or content about her being baptized, a lot of Christians are screaming like, oh my God, we saved her from the other side, you know. I think they really thought she was a devil worshipper, which I don't think she was. I mean, I love black bed sheets, but it doesn't mean every night I pray to Satan. In fact, I'm an atheist. I don't believe a devil exists. There is no devil to worship, you know? And perhaps being English, I don't necessarily believe that a gothic style is necessarily anti-Christian, as, you know, we have in medieval times, a lot of our churches were gothic. They were heavily gothic. Old churches look like a nowadays millionaire's gothic bedroom. Like they were done up gothically, our castles, everything like that. So when I think of that kind of gothic design, part of me does kind of link it to Christianity or religion. That's just me. I did also learn from watching people's videos talking about this is that nobody can pronounce the word macabre. They keep saying macabre. So there's that. So there was a lot of Christians supporting her and saying, you know, welcome into the faith, whatever you do when you welcome someone into your religion, good for you, whatever. There were also a lot of Christians saying the opposite. They actually don't believe she wanted to be a Christian or become, you know, religious at all. They thought she was doing it for PR and as a PR stunt to kind of like revive her career again, which I mean isn't totally unimaginable. A lot of people do stupid shit and we've seen it to kind of revamp their careers. And because of the way she looks, they couldn't put two and two together. I think, how can she look like this and be a Christian? I bet there's loads of Christians who have tattoos, so come on. But she got a lot of hate from Christian people in terms of comments, messages, things like that.
Me and my husband and my son, we'd go out to go get lunch throughout the week, and people would just come out of nowhere just wanting to give me a hug and congratulate me and welcome me to the family, which I love. And it's been pretty awesome. I'm actually shocked because I was expecting to get so much hate for it. You know, I know that a majority of my fans and my followers are not Christian. And so, like, I know that it's a turnoff to a lot of people. There was this other side of the response that was just so awful. And, you know, it wasn't my atheist friends. You know, you would think that all the hate would be coming from people who are, you know, against religion or against Christianity and stuff. And, you know, we got like the typical, like, dumb, mean, like, emoji comments, but like, it was really the Christians who were the worst. And it was just really like sad to see like this critical display of judgment, from Christians. And I don't understand what would inspire that aside from like something that's more egoic, because that isn't Christ-like, you know, to judge people or judge people's journey. It's like, you would think that most Christians would be like happy for you.
Now, I'm not saying all social media hate comments come from religious people, but when you get a hate comment and you click on their profile, a lot of the time it says follower of Christ or some kind of other religious thing. And I know that there are unfortunately extremists in every belief, you know, and whether that be religion or whatever belief you have, you know, flat earthers, things like that. I know there's extremists in everything and not everybody is like that. I also want to refer to this article from beauty editor Laura Capon, who wrote about Kat Von D when she back in the day had an experience with the brand and Kat Von D herself and a group of artists. And she published the whole article. I'll leave the whole article below because it's a really good read, but I want to focus on like this religious part, right? And she kind of goes through some of the people that Kat Von D has welcomed into her life since becoming religious or becoming, you know, changing her lifestyle. Laura writes, scrolling through who she follows, you will find a lot of Christian accounts, which she has engaged with, who make posts like, the only couples who are sexually incompatible are gay and lesbian couples. The homophobia in her following list doesn't stop there. One preacher she follows made a post for every day of Pride Month, twisting Bible quotes to suit his own hateful agenda. I will break the pride of your power, reads one post. Then there's the transphobia, with Christian women jumping on her story to say they hate Pride Month and that they are sick of society pushing children to transition. It's not just the LGBTQ community that are targeted either by these accounts. This is a quote, every time I see a grown-ass man shopping with a mask on, which is obviously like anti-mask, whatever, don't believe in COVID, whatever, make common sense great again, reads another one. Then there's the patriot mum who moans about the country being invaded, along with accounts that make unintentionally ironic posts like the founders called they want their country back. Particularly sad when Kat used to proudly discuss her parents emigrating to America from Mexico. So she's absolutely entitled to follow whoever she wants, but know that people like Laura are checking it out and calling you out on these people. But it does surprise me, I went through her followers too, how she still has friends in the LGBTQ plus family. Family? That's a nice word for it. But still follows these other people who are so hateful towards them and want to break their pride with the power of the Bible or whatever. And again, not every Christian has the same beliefs, but why do you have to follow these people that do religion with hate? You know what I mean? I personally won't be buying from the brand again. I am on their PR list for now. But again, I'm not really interested in them. I'd love to know your opinions down below. How long do you think KVD Beauty will be around for from now? I'm guessing not that long. Do consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up. And for more videos like this, check this playlist out here. And I'll see you very, very soon.